Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Crapo and Ranking Member Brown. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be here today to discuss our legislation, the Transit Infrastructure Vehicle Security Act, which became law in December 2019 as part of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2020. This law is important to me, in short, because Wisconsin is a state that makes things. For generations, we have assembled our nation's ships, built our nation's engines, and brewed our nation's beer. However, since we allowed China to enter the World Trade Organization in 2001, a move I opposed, millions of manufacturing jobs have been lost, and many workers have seen their wages stagnate as a result of downward pressure from competition from Chinese state-backed companies. As a non-market economy, China gives hundreds of billions in state subsidies to manufacturers and industries in which the government wants to compete. In 2015, the Chinese Communist Party released a strategic document outlining how it intends to compete globally in manufacturing. It was called Made in China 2025. This plan revealed that China desires to dominate in railcar and electric bus manufacturing. Recently, two state-supported companies that have made inroads into the U.S. market, the railcar manufacturer China Railway Rolling Stock Corporation, which we refer to as CRRC, and the bus and electric battery manufacturer Build Your Dreams, which we refer to as BYD. We know from observing CRRC's entry into the Australian market that the domestic industry cannot compete with China's aggressive state-owned enterprises. Over the last 15 years, Australia's domestic railcar production collapsed as CRRC gained increasing market share. Wisconsin manufacturers are happy to compete with anyone in the world, but we need a level playing field. And China's non-market economy forces Wisconsin manufacturers to compete with Chinese companies that get free land, free utilities, free R&D, and interest-free loans worth hundreds of millions of dollars. These Chinese subsidized, government-subsidized rivals would be bad enough, but now these companies are increasingly using their U.S. assembly facilities to win taxpayer-funded contracts from the Federal Transit Administration to procure buses and rail cars for American cities. When taxpayer dollars are spent, I believe we must make every effort to ensure that they support American workers and businesses. As a strong supporter of expanding and improving Buy America policies, I was proud to join Senators Crapo, Brown, and Cornyn in introducing and passing legislation to prohibit FTA funds from going to companies supported by non-market economies, such as BYD and CRRC. In 2 years, the prohibition in that law will go into force. Transit agencies need to know how they will be affected as soon as possible. Senator Cornyn and I have both requested that Secretary Chow and Acting FTA Administrator Williams publish information to ensure that transit agencies planning for the future are able to make safe, informed, and legal procurement decisions. While the legislation addressed many immediate concerns facing the domestic railcar and bus manufacturing industries, I urge this committee to work with the Department of Transportation to further tighten Buy America requirements to ensure that federal taxpayer dollars support good-paying manufacturing jobs in the U.S. I am deeply concerned by a study from Oxford Economics that found that CRRC's railcar production in the U.S., while compliant with Buy America, relies heavily on imported parts. This particular report estimated that as a result of this import and assemble business model, every one job CRRC creates in the U.S. eliminates as many as 5 U.S. jobs. I will close by commending the committee on the oversight work it is doing to ensure that this law is implemented as swiftly and as effectively as possible. And once again, thank you to the chair and ranking member for the opportunity to testify here today.